Hello, I'm Robert Cameron Weir, a genealogist in Dover, New Hampshire. I'm also chair of the Publications Committee for the New Hampshire Society of Genealogists. The fall 2020 issue, which is volume 32, number 1 of the New Hampshire Genealogical Record, is on the theme of epidemics and infectious diseases. At the end of that issue, I have a short article, a literature review of sorts, called Context Epidemics. Here it is. I'd like to take a closer look at one of the websites mentioned in some of the citations, such as here, resource.nlm.nih.gov, mentioned here as well, third spot over here. This is the U.S. National Library of Medicine, which is an online collection curated by the National Institutes of Health. I think this is a digital collection that deserves to be better known by genealogists, so let's take a closer look. We see here that the library is divided into several collections. If you have an ancestor who was a military surgeon, you'll definitely want to take a look at this first one, the Archives and Personal Papers collection. One of the resources they have here, let's see, I think it's on page 2, is a sizable one called Biographical Sketches, Association of Military Surgeons of the United States Biographical Sketch Collection. And if you can see, it's a sizable collection of biographical sketches for military surgeons. You might find an ancestor among that collection. There is also a sizable collection of images from the history of medicine, ranging from, Renaissance depictions of, death and the dance of death, to anatomical diagrams, to nurse costumes, nurse uniforms, I should say, of various nations. The nice thing about this collection is a good percentage of them will be in the public domain, and if so, it'll make a mention of that in the copyright. For example, this one, copyright, the National Library of Medicine believes this item to be in the public domain. Yeah, that looks pretty early, doesn't it? So you might find something there that can supplement your reports and your write-ups on genealogy. There's also targeted collections for World War I and World War II. So it's kind of an intersection of documents related to medicine as well as those two wars. What I mainly want to draw your attention to, however, is this collection here called Medicine in the Americas 1610 to 1920. This is a huge collection, 28,207 items that they've curated and put in this collection. I find it to be, first of all, a great way to find out how a particular disease was understood and treated in various historical periods. For example, let's take a search for diphtheria. Diphtheria, that was a disease that one of the articles in the most recent issue of the New Hampshire Record dealt with the diphtheria outbreak in New Hampshire in 1861. When I search on diphtheria, I get 3,215 hits. What's fascinating to me is, one of them is a book actually written in 1861, published in New York, entirely about diphtheria. So this would be a great way, if we're looking at a diphtheria outbreak in 1861, to look at, what is the actual state of knowledge that year in the United States regarding that disease. It's kind of a great insight. Had an ancestor who died of disease called softening of the brain. That was what was put on the death certificate. Search for that. Treatise on apoplexy with an appendix on softening of the brain and paralysis. Obscure diseases of the brain and mind. That would be a good start there. Another disease you'll see in old death certificates, Bright's disease. Climate in Bright's disease, the pathology of Bright's disease, insanity as a symptom of Bright's disease. 10,000 hits there. The first page or so of them dead on for resources related to Bright's disease at various historical periods. I've also had success with Civil War research, not searching for names of diseases, but searching for things like the name of a field hospital in Virginia where an ancestor of mine died, or searching for the name of the surgeon who signed his death certificate. So keep this in mind. I think this is a great arrow to have in your genealogical quiver. Whenever you encounter something medical or disease related in your research, keep in the back of your mind that there's the U.S. National Library of Medicine online, and give it a try. Thanks.